Good morning everyone. I am Achal Gupta and we are studying fractions and decimals in class 7. And till now in decimal part we have studied how do we compare, how do we add, how do we subtract and multiply two decimal numbers. So today we are going to see how do we divide two decimal numbers. So today we are going to see how do we divide decimals. This is a very important topic. You are reading it first time, you are learning this first time. How do we divide decimals? So look carefully. There are three cases for the division of decimals as well. Today we will learn about two cases only. So before starting, first of all, we should know few terminologies that we use during division of any numbers. Okay. So whenever you divide any number with another number, so the number that is being divided is known as dividend, and the number by which you are dividing that number is known as divisor. So today we use these terminologies, and in our today topic, that means how do we divide two decimal numbers, we will have one dividend and another one will be our divisor. Okay. So first case is when our divisor is a either 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, lakh, 10 lakh and so on. If my divisor is one of these numbers, how do we divide? That means my divisor is either of these numbers and my dividend should be a decimal number. Okay. So how do we divide in that case? Our dividend, those digits that are present in our dividends remain same in our answer also. Okay, so the digits remain same, just we have to shift our decimal point again. This is one kind of case that we have already studied in a case of multiplication. So now in case of division we are studying this case again, but as you must know now that in case of multiplication, whenever you divide any decimal number with 10, 100, 1000 and so on, our decimal point will be shifted on right side. In case of division, our decimal point will going to shift on the left side. This is the only difference between these two cases. In our multiplication case, we shift our decimal point to the right. How many times? We count the number of zeros that are present in our divisor, and that many number of times you will shift our decimal point to the right side in case of multiplication. But remember, in case of division we have to shift the decimal point to the left by the number of places equal to the number of zeros in divisor. Let's see one example here. Example is 87.6 divided by 100. Right, so my digits, that is 8, 7 and 6, as you can see my digits are same as they are in dividend, 8, 7, 6. Okay, so the only difference is of point. Okay, here you can see this is my divisor because I am dividing this dividend by a divisor, that is 100. In 100 you can see you are having two zeros. So now this time for division you have to shift our decimal point two times to the left. My decimal point is here. If you shift this two times to the left, it will go here and then it will go here. That means my decimal point will come before 8. Okay, so my answer will be 0.876. Right? If this would be the case of multiplication, and instead of this division sign, if we would have a multiplication sign over here, then my point or my decimal will be shifted on which side? Right side. So remember it, whenever you multiply with 10, 100, 1000 and so on, you shift your decimal point to the right, and whenever you divide with such numbers, you shift your decimal point to the left. Okay, just count number of zeros in the divisor and shift that many times the decimal point. Here my number of zeros are 3. So I will shift my decimal point 3 times to the left because we are dividing in this case. Okay, so my decimal is here. If I shift this to the left 3 times, You can see it is here in question. It will go here, then here, and then here. So my answer will be 0.005. From here, my decimal will be shifted here. Okay. I hope it is clear to you. Just remember, in case of multiplication, we shift to right. In case of division, we shift to left. Okay. Because in case of multiplication, my product will be always greater. Okay. And in case of division, my quotient will be always smaller than my dividend. Right. Okay. Let's move on to our next case. That is case 2. In case 2, my number is a whole number or a integer rather than 10, 100,000, although these are also integers or whole numbers, but except these numbers. Okay, except 10, 100,000, 10,000, lakh, 1 lakh, 10 lakh. Except these, if any other integer is there, how do we divide decimal number? So here you can see my dividend is 73.59 and my divisor is 2. Okay. So first of all, I will divide this 7 with 2. 7 will go how many times? 3 times. Because nearest to 7, 6 is there in the table of 2. When you subtract them, you will get 1. And I will note down this 3 over here. So it will become 13 now. Now, nearest to 13, I have 12 in the table of 2. So it will go how many times? 6 times. Again, if you subtract, you will get 1. Now, you can see in dividend a point comes when a decimal is there. I have already solved these two digits, so my point comes. So in quotient also, I have to put the decimal point. Okay. Just you have to align your decimal point here also in quotient. Why? Because my part before the decimal, that means my whole part is completed. Now decimal point arrives, so I have to put a decimal point in quotient as well at that point of time. Okay. So we note down this 5 here after putting the decimal point in quotient. Here it becomes 15. So nearest to 15, 14 comes in the table of 2. How many times? 7 times. So 7 will be the in the quotient, and again you subtract both of these, you will get 1. Now I can note down the next number, that is 19. Again nearest to 19, 18 comes in the table of 2 9 times. So it will go 9 times and 1 is the remainder. Now either you can leave it here. If the question is being asked, you have to write the answer up to 2 decimal places. Up to 2 decimal places means after the decimal point in quotient, you have to write up to 2 decimal places. Okay, so you can leave it here. If not, if you go one more step further, it will be completely divisible, as I have already put a decimal point over here, so I can add zeros here as many as I want, but one by one. Okay, so if my decimal point is here in the question, I can add 1 0 over here. So if you note down this 0 after this 1, it will become 10, and 10 will go how many times in the table of 2? 5 times. So it is completely divisible now. So just one step further of this, if you go, you get a quotient by which this number is completely divisible by 2. But if the question is there that you have to leave up to 2 decimal places, so you can leave the answer over here also. Okay. Let's see one more example. Here you have to divide 68.5 with 5, right? So again, first of all, I divide this 6 with 5. It will go 1 time. And when you subtract both of these, you will get 1. Okay. Now you note down this 8. This 8 will be noted down here, and it will become 18. So nearest to 18, 15 comes in the table of 5. It will go 3 times. Now here is 3, right? 3. And as you can see here, now both of these digits have been solved and my decimal point arrives. So in my quotient also I have to put the decimal point before noting this 5 down. I cannot note down this 5 until I put a decimal point in quotient. Okay, so I put this decimal point in the quotient as well. Now I can note down this 5 down, and when you note down this 5 here, it will become 35, and 35 can be completely divisible by 5 7 times. So I write 7 in quotient and it will go completely, and my answer will be 13.7. Let's see few questions of exercise 2.7. So both of these cases will be very much clear to you. Let's start with question number 1. In question number 1, you have to divide these decimal numbers with 10. Okay. So whenever you have to divide with 10, 100,000, what we will do? We will just shift our decimal point to the left because we are dividing. Okay. How many times in this case we have to shift our decimal point? Only one time, because each part is divided by 10, and in 10 you are only having 1 0. Okay. So this number as it is divided by 10. Now decimal point is here. So you have to shift this decimal point one time to the left. So it will just come before 2. So my answer will be 89.21. Okay. Next, 7.64 divided by 10 again. Again, I will shift this decimal point one time only because only 1 0 is present in 10. So when you shift this decimal point one time to the left, it will come before 7 here. So my answer is 0.764. Next part, here you can see again you have to divide with 10. Only you have to shift one time because 1 0 is there in the 10. So shift this to one time left. When you shift this one time left, answer will be 0.000. Earlier there are only two zeros in the question, and in answer you are having three zeros after the decimal point and then 6775 because you shifted this decimal point one time to the left. In this case also you have to shift the decimal point to the left how many times? Only one time because 1 0 is there. So if you shift this one time to the left, it will come before this 0 and my answer will be 0.0408. Okay. In question number 2, you have to divide by 100. So in this case, you are having how many zeros? You are having these two zeros. So you have to shift your decimal point how many times? Two times, again to the left side only. So when you divide this number with 100, you have to shift the decimal point two times to the left. So it will come before this 4. So my answer will be 72.406. Next one, 0.75. I can write it as 0.75. I can add as many 0 as I want. It won't change my value. Okay, this is the same. So I am doing this so that it is very much visible to you how I am writing the answer. I have to shift the decimal point two times. So my decimal will come over here. One time, two times. So it will come in between these two zeros. So my answer is 0.007. Okay. In C part also, I have to shift my decimal point two times because two zeros are present in 100. Okay. So two times I have to shift my decimal point to the left. So I can write it as 007.483. Both of these numbers are same. I can write as many zeros as I want in front of this number. So if you shift this point two times to the left, it will come here. Okay, so my answer is 0.07483. Again, in next part, this is the easy one. You have to shift your decimal point two times to the left. You will shift from here and it will go before 5. 1.56985 is the answer. Here you only have to shift the decimal point to the left Okay, you just have to count the number of zeros in divisor, then you have to shift your decimal point to the left. Simple. Question number third is you have to evaluate. Now you can see in question that our divisor is a whole number or an integer here. Here also it is a whole number or integer. Here also it is an integer, and here also it is an integer. Right? So when this is the case, you cannot just shift the decimal. Okay. What we will do here, we have to divide them simply as we divide numbers. Just we have to be careful with the decimal point. Okay. So first of all, I am just showing first A part. Here 71.05 is dividend, which is being divided by 35, which is the divisor over here. So first of all, you will only look for this whole part. In whole part, I am having 71. So nearest to 71, 70 comes in the table of 35. So it will go 2 times. 70 come here. When you subtract both of these, 1 will come here. Okay. Again the same rule. Whenever my whole part is over and my decimal point arrives, so I have to put decimal point in the quotient also. So as my decimal point arrives now, I have to put the decimal point in quotient also at that point of time. Then only you can note down the next digits. Okay. So I just put my decimal point in quotient and I just noted down this 10. Now you can see that if you note down this 10, this 0 and 10 is here. 10 is not divisible with the table of 35. So what can I do now? Because this 10 is not divisible, you have to put 0. Look at it once again. When you subtract 71 and 70, 1 is there. Then decimal point arrives. You put the decimal point in quotient. Then you note down the next digit. All of you know in division we can only note down one digit at a time. Okay, so I can only note down this 0. It will become 10. Now, this 10 is not divisible with the table of 35, so I have to put 0 in the quotient because 10 is not divisible. When I put this 0 here, then only I can note down my next digit. Okay. So when I put 0, I can now note down my next digit here. If you note down this 5, this will become 105 now. 105 is completely divisible by 35 and it will go 5 times. So 5 will come in quotient and this will completely divided by 35 and my answer will be 2.05. Okay. Just look at part B. 1.5351 you have to divide with 43. Look at it carefully. In whole part, what you are having in whole part? In whole part you are only having 1. Right? Now you know that 1 is not divisible by 43. So I have to put 0 over here. I cannot divide it. Okay. Now my whole part is over. So for noting down my next digit, what I have to do? I have to put this decimal point in my quotient first. So because my decimal point arrives, I have to put this in my quotient. Okay. Then only I can note down my next number. If you note down this 5 here, it will become 15. Only one digit at a time you can note down. So it will become 15. Again 15 is not divisible by 43 because 15 is smaller. So you have to put what? 0 over here for noting down next digit. This 0 is important. It is important to write this 0. Then only you can note down the next digit. Okay. So I put this 0 in the quotient and now I can note down my next digit, that is 3. Now my number become 153. 153 can be divisible by 43. So nearest to 153 comes 129. That comes 3 times. So 3 will be in quotient and you write 129. Now you subtract both of these 153 and 129, you will get 24. Again 24 is there, so you note down the next number, that is 5. 245 again can be divisible 5 times. 215 is the nearest to 245. Now you will subtract again both of these numbers and you will get what? You will get 30. Then you will note down this last digit in the dividend, that is 1. 301 goes completely by the table of 43 7 times. So you write 7 in quotient and this will go completely and my answer is 0.0357. So I hope you know that one digit at a time you can note, and if that digit is not divisible by the divisor, you have to put 0 in the quotient. Okay, let's move on to part C. In part C, you have to divide 42 with 35. You can see both of them are whole numbers here. Okay, so you will put this 42 inside this, and you can write this whole number as 42.00 because when decimal is not present, it is at the end of the digits. So you can write it this way. Now again, first of all, you only look for whole part. 42. 42 goes one time in the table of 35. Okay, remainder is 7. Now for noting down this 0, I have to go through this decimal point. So I have to put decimal in my quotient because my whole part is over. So when you note down this 0, 70 comes and 70 go how many times? 2 times. It will go completely. So my answer is 1.2 or you can write 1.20. Okay. Here again a decimal number is there which you have to divide with 63. Right. So again, first of all, you will only take two numbers because 65 is divisible with table of 63. It will go one time. 2 is the remainder if you subtract both of these numbers. Then you note down my next number in whole part, that is 20. Now 20 is not divisible. First of all, I get this 20 only. 20 is not divisible with the 63. So I put 0 over here. Remember, if you note down any number from here and it is not divisible with this divisor, you have to put the 0 over quotient. It is compulsory. Okay. So I have to put this 0 in the quotient. Now my whole part is over. My decimal is there next. So I have to put decimal in quotient as well before noting down my next number. So after putting decimal in quotient, I can note down my next number and now it becomes what? Now it becomes 201. 201 can be divisible by 63. It will go 3 times because 189 is nearest to 201 in the table of 63. Okay. Now you subtract both of these. When you subtract again you will get 12. Now you note down the next digit. It appears to be 126 which is divisible by 63. How many times? 2 times. So my answer will be 10.32. Okay. Okay. Question number 4. Here you can see evaluate the following up to 2 decimal place. That means you only have to find the answer up to 2 decimal places. So there may be the possibility that my number is not completely divisible by the divisor. So you have to find answers only up to 2 decimal places. Okay. So first is 5043.03 divided by 18. Again this is a integer. 50 nearest to 50 is 36 in the table of 18. It will go 2 times. If you subtract 36 from 50 you will get 14, and I note down the next digit, that is 4. It becomes 144 now. So 144 is divisible with the table of 18 8 times. Okay, so I write 8 in the quotient and 144 here. When you subtract both of these you will get 0. Now I have to note down this 3. So only 03 is there with me. That means 3. 3 is not divisible by 18. So I have to put this 0. Okay. Now my decimal point is here. So you have to put the decimal point in quotient. Then only you can note down this 0. I put this decimal point here in quotient also. Now I can note down this 0. As you can see, I have already noted it down. Now it becomes 30. 30 can again be divisible 1 times. You just write 18 over here, you subtract it, 12 will be there. Then you note down this 3 and 123. Nearest to 123 you get 108 in the table of 18. That is 6 times. Okay. So 15 is the remainder. Now no need to solve it further because in question it is given to you. You have to solve up to 2 decimal places. And here I am having 2 decimal places. That means 2 digits after decimal point. Okay. So you can leave the answer over here and my answer is 280.16. In most of the cases, you just keep this in mind. Most of the cases, max to max, you have to solve the decimal numbers division up to 3 decimal places. Don't go further 3. Okay. Here, again you have to divide. My dividend is here. You can see in whole part here only 6 is there. And 6 is not divisible by 47. So it will go 0 times. You have to write 0 over here. Then my decimal point arrives. So I have to put decimal in quotient also. Then only I can note down this one. So now it becomes 61. 61 can be divisible by 47. It will go 1 time. So I write 1 in quotient and 47 here. You subtract both of these numbers, you will get 14. Then I note down the second digit after decimal point. 142 is there. Nearest to 142, I get 141. That will come 3 times in the table of 47. So I write 3 over here and 141 over here. Again, I will do the subtraction. I will get 1. Then I note down the next digit. 11 is there only. Okay, 11 is not divisible by 47. So I have to put this 0. Then only I can note down this 5. So I put this 0. Then I note down this 5. It will become now this 115. 115, nearest to it you have 94. That will come 2 times. Okay. So 21 is the remainder, and because you have to write the answer up to 2 decimal places only, you can write only 0.13 that I have written here. Next, part C. Again you have to do the division. 84 nearest to 84, because this is the whole part. Nearest to 84 in the table 15 you have 75. This will go 5 times. When you subtract both of these you will get 9. Again, after solving these two digits, my decimal point is here, so you have to put decimal point in quotient. Then only you can note down this 6. Nearest to 96 you have 90 in the table of 15. That will go 6 times. So here it is, it will go 6 times and 90 is here. When you subtract both of these, you will get 6. Again, you have to note down the next number. This will become 67. It will go 4 times because nearest to 67, you have 60 in the table of 15. So 4 will be written in quotient and 60 will be here. You again subtract this, you get a remainder. This is not completely divisible till now, but you have to solve up to 2 decimal places. So my answer is 5.64. Last part is also the same. You can see the procedure. Just solve these questions by yourself. Then check whether you are doing it right or not. If you practice these division questions, then only you get to know where to put 0, where to put decimal, where not to put 0. Then only your concepts will be clear. So do practice mathematics. Practice is the only key. Thank you.